Hello friends of the forest, today we are harvesting potatoes. And these potatoes are special because they were grown using the Ruth Stout method. Look at all of them. I didn't till the soil, I didn't make furrows, I didn't bury the potatoes together, I just laid them on the ground. I thought I had them mixed, but I can only find the red ones. Look how beautiful they are. To ease the harvesting process, they use hay to cover and compress the areas, requiring me to dig through the hay in order to harvest them today. Let's go ahead and embark on the adventure of harvesting potatoes. Throughout our journey, we have already produced a multitude of informative videos illustrating the process of cultivating these starchy tubers. Today, I want to showcase the results of a particularly effortless method that I am confident will pique your interest. With this approach, there are no excuses for not giving it a try, even if you lack physical strength or have limited time to dedicate to tending to the land. Rest assured, we have delved into various other techniques as well, including the indispensable use of agricultural machinery for commercial-scale potato production. Nevertheless, it is also entirely feasible to cultivate this versatile vegetable with minimal exertion. Now, let me introduce you to the innovative Ruth Stout method, which was actually conceived in America. This ingenious technique was ardently advocated by a visionary gardener and author from the last century in the United States. Her invaluable advice revolutionized how we grow crops, employing a method that relies on the abundant use of hay and thick layers of mulch. Essentially, this remarkable lady proposed a straightforward approach. Simply scatter the potatoes across the ground, spreading them out strategically, and then generously bury them under a layer of mulch crafted from hay. This protective layer should be a substantial 20 centimeters thick. Let's press on with our endeavor, continuing to dig into the soil. Out of personal preference, I find these particular potatoes to be utterly delightful. Take a look at what's down here. Wow, these are nice. Oops, somebody ate them. Already this one looks good. Look, how many? These are from the same plant. We have two nice potatoes here, two patatonsoli, but you see there are some, I don't know what they had, that are empty. We shared the crop with somebody else. We experienced a substantial amount of rainfall this year, which was expected to greatly benefit them. However, last year the potatoes were undersized and scarce due to inadequate water supply. In early April, I planted the crops and observed their rapid growth. Interestingly, the plants even blossomed beautifully, which was quite remarkable. However, despite the promising signs, no fruits were produced. It's worth mentioning that potatoes can potentially bear small berries resembling miniature tomatoes. However, these berries are extremely toxic and consumption is strongly discouraged. If these fruits do appear, it is advised to promptly remove them in order for the plant to direct its energy towards the growth of the tubers instead of diverting it towards fruit formation. Given their lack of benefits, it's best to disregard these berries entirely. Feed the soil. It's nice to pull them out like that because it feels like finding the nest. They look like eggs. Let's see. The potato's fruition and the opportune time for harvesting can be determined by observing the condition of the plant's leaves. When the leaves begin to wither and shrivel, it is an indication that the potatoes are nearing maturity and ready for harvest. However, one can also choose to wait until the plant has completely dried out. The decision of when to harvest often hinges on the presence of predators that pose a risk to the crop. In my case, I opted to harvest the potatoes when most of the leaves had dried up, even though some still showed signs of vitality. These latter potatoes may have had the potential to develop additional small potatoes, but overall the harvest was satisfactory. The soil split in half, resulting in a division. Even with the addition of mulch, for example. Look at the kind of soil I have. A little tiring. Come on, this is nice, and they didn't even eat it that much. Look at this. We found a nest. Nice and plentiful. Look at this. These are also looking good down below. Despite the heavy rainfall, the soil appears wild as the mulch mounts up ludicrously high amidst the incessant rain showers. And then there's also moisture here, but it's really hard though it's compacted. The potatoes seem to have developed better where the cracks were. I am content with the harvest considering two important aspects. Firstly, I did not exert any labor on the land, therefore I avoided any struggles. The process of planting and harvesting was exceptionally effortless. Additionally, given the problematic nature of my soil, tightly compacted and beset with numerous issues even after being covered by hay for an extended period, the results exceed my expectations. These are beautiful, come on. Look what a potato looks like here. See, here's the stem. Still, this one was not dead. It was quite alive in production. And it's doing all these stralcetti. I also follow it here where a lot of potatoes are sprouting. Here is another little bunch that is redolent of infestation. Look. They are quite exquisite. I ensured the sun did not harm them by repeatedly adding plenty of fiano. This is of utmost importance as they need to be carefully maintained. The outcome of my harvest has left me immensely gratified despite the fact that many of these potatoes in the supermarket would solely gather dust in your cart due to their imperfections, too tiny and adorned with minuscule holes caused by little creatures. However, my labor was minimal. I toiled with the soil and had an enjoyable time resulting in these fine potatoes. They are delectable and completely natural without any harmful additives. So, I have made the decision to repeat the experiment and continue employing the Ruth Stout method. As you have seen, the outcomes thus far have been positive. However, it is of utmost importance to repeat the process of applying mulch multiple times. This is necessary because as time progresses, the hay will break down and its level will decline, posing a risk of light permeating through. In order to ensure the potatoes remain in a favorable condition and are suitable for consumption, it is crucial that they always remain thoroughly covered. Failure to do so could result in the development of solanine, a toxic substance. The risk of solanine increases when potatoes are grown above ground as they may undergo a greenish hue. If solanine is present, these potatoes are unfit for consumption. Therefore, it is vital to remember to apply multiple layers of mulch and maintain an adequate level of coverage as it naturally dissipates. The potatoes must be kept in a dark environment to prevent solanine activation. Storing them in an appropriate location is also essential. The hay used in the growth process can serve as an effective storage method as well. Arrange the potatoes in a single layer, avoiding any overlapping, and cover them with a layer of hay. It is crucial to ensure the storage area is cool, dry, and well ventilated. Ideally, a dry and well ventilated space would be optimal, though a cellar will suffice. Remember, potatoes can also be cultivated as a perennial crop. If you happen to have any leftover tubers in your garden and the predators in your area aren't too numerous, you may face a multitude of creatures that are potentially inclined to snatch away your precious potatoes. Among these are mice as well as various creatures that have the capability to reach them, along with all the insects residing in the soil such as slugs and so forth. In short, you'll encounter numerous potential thieves for your potatoes. However, if a few of your potatoes manage to withstand this challenging trial and make it through, they will eventually sprout anew in the upcoming spring. To prevent pests from accumulating and focusing in one area, it's advisable to rotate the location where you plant your potatoes. Nonetheless, if you don't have a significant problem with pests, you can keep the potatoes in the same spot for several years, which ultimately saves labor. The potatoes that we collected today, albeit only partially since we had already harvested most of them, have been cultivated using the intriguing method of syntropic cropping systems. This particular technique is rather fascinating as it follows the same basic principle as before. We primarily concentrate on the growth above the ground, where we use mulch and organic matter to cover the area. However, with syntropic cropping, we create a zone enriched with nutrients where the potatoes serve as a cultivated crop within a regeneration zone. It seems that one of the potatoes has encountered a piece of wood while growing, which is probably the reason why it couldn't develop properly. Furthermore, because we utilized slightly sturdier branches of wood for the piles, the potatoes faced certain difficulties in their development. Just take a look at this one. It has an unusually twisted shape. However, despite its appearance, it is still of good quality. As you can observe, the soil in my garden is not ideally suited for potatoes. Potatoes, being tubers, require ample space to expand and they prefer loose and crumbly soil. Unfortunately, we have the opposite situation here in our garden. Moreover, growing potatoes in this challenging soil is particularly difficult due to our low altitude. Potatoes typically thrive in mountainous regions. Thankfully, this year turned out well for me. Apart from a few potatoes that were consumed directly from the soil, I encountered no instances of heartworm or any other issues. Therefore, this lighter cultivation method might also prove effective for those who lack an ideal setting but still wish to try their hand at growing potatoes. Please do share how your own potato harvest progresses so that we can continue to enhance and refine the process. And don't forget to explore our other videos where we explain various methods, as well as our gardening guide specifically focused on growing potatoes. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll eagerly await seeing you in the next one. Now let's proceed and prepare some delectable potatoes. Goodbye.